Good morning, everyone. It's nice to have you here. Welcome to ESO Let's Read. This is being filmed on the 14th of January, 2021. We're already into 2021. This is wonderful. We're going to have a PowerPoint presentation by our chairman, and then we will open it up to all of you for questions. So I learned something new for this particular workshop, which was how to share my screen with PowerPoint. And it's very important for Shirley Lorraine, our CFWC chair for education, libraries, and ESO. She has a huge job to present today your ESO that you are all muted, including myself, including Sonia, except for Shirley. So go ahead and mute yourselves. We are about to ask you to put yourselves on speaker view. So go ahead and do that, and you should see just me. And I will do the same, speaker view. There we go. I see all of your lovely faces and a ribbon across the top with an arrow. Should I have to go on? I'm going to mute the few of you that are still not muted and hand that over to, okay, there we go. And Shirley is not muted and I am not muted. I'm gonna mute myself, and we're gonna allow Shirley to go ahead and introduce herself. She's a woman of many talents, and while she's doing that and you get to know her a little better, I am going to get your PowerPoint presentation ready. So once again, we are recording, pardon me, and I introduce to you Shirley Lorraine. Shirley.
Good morning, everybody. I should be coming up on your screen, yes? I'm still seeing you, Pam.
The rest of us are muted.
Okay. No, I'm audio. Do you see me?
We do. We see you.
Good, because I do not. Okay. Okay. Get to the beginning there, to the first page. While she's doing that, I'll just tell you a little bit about myself. I've been a member of Women's Club for over 15 years. I am first and foremost an entertainer. I was a professional mime for years and years. Now I can't stop talking. Go figure. My husband and I had a business for 25 years as magicians. I am an independent magician, member of the Magic Castle in Hollywood, and performed a solo act. So theater is nothing new to me. I've also been in community theater for, I don't know, 1,000 years. Anyway, I hope that this will be fun and exciting for you. First and foremost, I have been a reader my entire life since I was very, very little. My husband always said, you know, if there's something around, I will read it. A matchbook cover, anything, Kleenex box, doesn't matter. I got to read all the time. Now, everybody reads differently. Some people pick up one book and read it till it's done. I have a book in every single room, so that wherever I go, I am never without a book to read, and I'll just pick it up and keep going. So I have a passion about ESO. Here's the deal. I was in club for 5 years before I even found out about ESO. It was a secret for some reason. Nobody mentioned it. Nobody was in charge. Nobody said, hey, let's have a book club. So as soon as I found out about it, I said, hey, let's have a book club. And of course, that put me in charge. So I've been the chair of our ESO chapter for 10 years. I'm still learning how the program works. It's been a little cloudy over the years, and I know many of you who have been reading for a long time will understand this completely. So my goal for this term is to try and simplify the program so that we can get everybody on board and get credit for all the reading that we're already doing. So let's get started. Pam, if you'll give me the first page. Okay, so for those of you who are not familiar with it, here's just a little bit of history. It is an honorary educational society, education being the key component. And we'll get back to that in just a little bit. So it's been around since 1928. Gfwc made it part of their programs in 1950. That's the year I was born, ladies. So I know it's been around a while. California came on board just a few years later. And ever since then, we've been struggling to keep it going. Next slide. There you go. So the biggest question people have is, well, why should I? I read anyway. What's the deal? Okay. The whole purpose of ESO is to expand our knowledge. Many in my club, and probably in your club as well, are retired educators. We love to give out information. We love to get information. I'm a lifelong learner. I'm always taking classes in something. So this is a perfect opportunity for me to use what I'm already doing, get hours credit for the club. It is just a win-win, and it's free. Here's a little tidbit. I've been researching some of the other states and how they run their programs. Some states charge to participate in ESO. Oh, California does not. We are totally free. So there's no excuse not to participate. Next slide. There you go. Okay, now before we get into the levels, I want you to know that on the CFWC website, I have had put, thank you, Linda Queen, brand new, updated, revised brochure about ESO and numerous pieces of material that will help you as we go through it. These are all available to every single member. So what do you do first? You get somebody to make a commitment. Here's what I say. First, we pledge, we make a commitment, then we read, then we report, and that's always a scary part. We'll get to that. We achieve levels, and then we celebrate. We celebrate for ourselves and we celebrate with our clubs. One of the things that always annoyed me about the brochure was that the pledge form was on the brochure itself and on the other side of the category list. So as soon as you turned in your pledge sheet, you no longer had the category list. Go figure. So I've taken that pledge sheet off and made it a separate form. All you're doing is saying, yes, I want to participate. That's it. Just letting your club and your district know that you want to participate in being a reader. So how do you do that? All right. You start reading. You start reading. We'll go through this and we'll come back to it. 4 categories, 4 books in each category for a total of 16 books. This will become more clear a little bit later as we go through the forms. That's your first level. I've tried to make that real easy for all of you to achieve that. And by the way, if you have questions, please write them down. We'll get to them at the end. Let me kind of just barrel through all this information first, okay? These levels are all listed on the information sheets and in the brochure. So one of the biggest questions that comes up here is it cumulative? The answer is no. You have your categories in your books, then you have the next set of categories and books. You don't add them to the previous ones, okay? Let's go to the next slide. Aha. century, 100 books. How many of you can say you've read 100 books? Well, guess what? Yeah, I can too. Thousands, actually, but I haven't recorded them. There's no time limit to ESO reading. You're not under any deadlines whatsoever. It's strictly on your own time. And I love that because some days I have a lot of time to read. Some days I have no time to read, and it's okay. So you just go on as you can. Next slide. All right. We have 25 different categories. The goal of ESO is education, first and foremost. So the idea is, no matter what you like to read, ESO encourages you to expand your knowledge. I used to be the kind of person who read one category for a very long time. For a few years, it was science fiction. Everything was science fiction. Then for a few years, it was show business autobiographies. Well, with ESO, I've learned that I really enjoy all kinds of categories I never would have thought about choosing. So let's go to the next one. We'll start going through some of the categories. American history. Oh boy, there's lots to go through there. Biography and memoir. New category. I added 2 new categories this year, which Gfwc said I could do that whenever I wanted to. So I've added California history, which is a personal interest of mine, so why not? Drama, classic fiction, and I put Mark Twain. Don't think that just means Mark Twain. That's an example. Classic fiction. Fiction of a genre. Mysteries, science fiction, Western, you name it, okay? Health and medicine. There's a lot to read about health and medicine right now. Anything in the arts, business and finance, conservation and ecology. Oh, there's some great books about what's happening to our oceans and global warming, all that. Education, general fiction that doesn't fit into any other category. New category, historical fiction. That's a big category right now. There's a lot of it out there, and I found I was reading historical fiction and then I couldn't figure out, should I put it in general? Should I put it in genre? So I thought, well, it just needs its own category. Let's just go with that. Home and garden. Next slide. Parenting and families. Oh, there's a lot in that category. And here's one of my favorites, reading to children and youth. Any grandmas out there? You read to your grandkids? There's a category right there. How many times have you read the 500 Hats of Bartholomew Cubbins? Any of the Dr. Seuss books? Oh boy, write them down. There's 4 of those. One category, done. Science, sports and recreation. I was just talking with another member about this yesterday. All of a sudden, I found that I'm interested in sports and recreation. I didn't know that until I started picking up some of these books. I read about a fellow who spent 42 days on a raft in the ocean and how he survived. That's not my idea of recreation, but it fits in the category. Olympics, for instance, the history of Olympics. Volunteerism, it's a category that's a little tougher, perhaps. World history, poetry. I love reading poetry. Shel Silverstein, again, to kids, a no-brainer. Religion and inspiration, social sciences, travel and geography, and women's studies. Let's go on. Here's the cool thing, and this comes up frequently. Where do I put it? What category do I put something in? You pick up a book and you think immediately, oh, it should be in this category. Well, by the time you get finished, you may think it goes somewhere else. So I've devised a brand new form GF's form is still a full 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper with a big section to write in. And I thought, oh, I don't want to write a synopsis of the book. That's not what I'm reading for, is to do book reports, right? And that is the number one comment that I get from members. I don't want to write any reports. You probably have heard that in your clubs as well, or maybe you were the one saying it. I don't know. So what I did is I put it, made a form that is 4 reports on one sheet. One sheet completes an entire category. So we're saving paper, we're conserving, we're recycling. No, you don't have to send it in hard copy. You can email it, and that's perfectly fine. Here's what we want to know. What did you learn from reading this book? Everybody learns something. You might say, I learned I don't like the style of this author. Perfectly valid. You might learn 3 new ways to use arsenic. Hope that doesn't come in handy. You might learn a new yoga pose or a new recipe. It doesn't matter. Just say, what did you learn from it? That fulfills our goals of education, which is what ESO is all about. Let's go on. Okay, so where do I find all this? Again, it's been a well-kept secret for many, many years. Thanks to the powers that be at CF, they are now on the CFWC website. Go right there. And by the way, I made them up, so they're not proprietary. Feel free to copy them to your own club's website or to your own computer, and then you'll always have them. Okay? Here's the process. It is easier than it seems to be. Some people have worked very hard over the years to make it difficult, and it doesn't have to be. Do you have a club chair? Well, you don't have to have. In fact, you don't even have to have a formal section for ESO. You can be the only one in your club who's participating. That's okay. When you get done with your requirements, for instance, the first level, 4 books in 4 categories, total 16 books, 4 sheets of paper instead of 16. Thank you very much. Club chair, which could be you, says, I did this. You sign it, you send it off to your district chair. If your district does not have an ESO chair, you can send it on to me. That's how it works. Boop, 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 boop. Just write up the levels. Okay. I record that achievement, and then I get back to you with an official acknowledgement. Let's go on. There are materials on the GFWC website, although not much. And this has always been a challenge for me because I've always been looking for information and it's just not there. And they know it. What is there is a new 2020 handbook giving you more information about how to do the process. And there is a suggested reading list. Now, some people in some states say it has to be off the list. Whatever I read has to be on that list. If it's not on the list, it doesn't count. Not true. It's just a suggestion to get you started should you not know where to start. Personally, I go to any shelf in my house and I just blindly reach out and grab a book, and that's what I read quite often, actually. So it has been a challenge, and I had a challenge myself with the new member portal on the GF website to find where is this stuff. Here's what you do. Go into your profile. You drop down on the right-hand side, click on your profile picture. There should be a drop down that says My Digital Library. If it isn't there, contact somebody at GF and they will help get that so that you can find it. In that section, then you go to E or ESO, and those 2 publications are there and you can print them out. It's a lot of pages, but you could also download it and just have it available on your computer as well. Let's go on. Okay. This is more about the reading list. Just suggestions. You don't have to read what's there. I'm so glad that they finally updated it, because some of the books on the previous list actually have been out of print for a while and not available. So there you go. Here's the really fun part, I think, about the categories. A book might fit into many categories. An example would be Michelle Obama's book, Becoming. Okay. It could fit in memoir, biography. It could fit in history. It could fit in social science, women's studies, even inspiration. So you decide, how did it affect you to decide what category to put it into? Okay. It could be many books fit into many categories. Where do you need it? Do you need one more in health and medicine, for instance? I'm sure you can find something. Another author that I particularly like is Lisa Geneva. She wrote Still Alice, and what's the other one? Left Neglected. Her books are fiction, but they are based on true medical issues. And so they can fit in fiction general, women's studies, health and medicine, parenting and families, and so forth. You can see how things can build to make it work not only for you, but for the categories as well. All right, let's go on. That's where most of the questions come in, is where do I put it? All right. Are there pins available? Yes, there are. Basic membership pins available at the Gfwc Marketplace. You can get a little torch guard to add to it when you reach that level. There is nothing else in between there. Star level doesn't have a pin. Torch level has the guard, but not a pin for itself. Be aware when you order things from the GF Marketplace, the pins are not expensive, but the shipping can almost double your cost. So be sure and bundle things when you order anything from GF. And then when you reach an achievement and you get credit for it, meaning you've been recognized up the chain, put it in your newsletters. Say, hey, I did this, yay for me. And hopefully that will spark other people to join in on the fun. All right, let's go on. I'm going to come back to some of the forms. Here's how to contact me. And by the way, probably my fault, but the address that's in the yearbook is my old address. I happen to move right in the middle of all of this transition, but I do get mail there. My son lives there. So the grandkids walk the mail around 2 blocks and bring me mail on a regular basis. I would prefer that you send it to either my post office box or to my new address. It'll just get there faster, maybe one day. Again, not a big deal. All right. I want to show you, let's go back to speaker view so that I can show you some forms. Okay. Some things that are on the website. How are we doing on time? Okay. All right. The ESO pledge application. I don't know if you can see this. Can you see this? Okay. What I've done on the application is I've added on achievements so that not only can the club chair, but also the district chair, and actually it's for me, but everybody can list the achievements as they go on. Record keeping, as you know, needs to be as simple as possible to carry it forward to the next chair. So I've tried to simplify that a little bit. Here's the report form. 4 on 1 page. 1 category, done. And again, I don't want the synopsis. Don't bother going through all that. Just tell me, what did you learn from it? That's cool. There is another form, a cover sheet, not required, preferred, but not required. And all that does is when you send in your 4, I'm going to say member application, your first 4 categories, okay? You're going to put that information on this cover sheet and attach 4 forms, the 4 categories. The district chair only sends me the cover sheet. You can send me all the forms. It's not that much paper. Again, there's really no wrong way to do it. That's the neat thing. I labored for years thinking, if I don't do it this way, it's not going to count, and yeah, all that. There's no wrong way. We want to keep it easy for you to be able to achieve. If you have people who are new in your club, who don't have any idea what this is all about, I'm happy to, especially by Zoom, be a guest speaker for your club. I can talk about these things. I can send you hard copies of any of these materials, and you can copy them to your heart's content. There's also an information sheet, which is actually 2 pages, again, on the CF website, just a basic general information sheet. And one thing that I did not put on, but if anybody wants one, I'll be happy to email it to you. Years ago, when I was having trouble trying to keep track of things, I made myself a tracking sheet. And it's got all the categories, except for the new ones, because this is old, and 4 sections. And when I read something that I fit in a section, I wrote it in. And then later on, I knew where I was. I don't know, it's extra paperwork. It may or may not work for you, but it is available should you desire to use it. So that's the deal. Okay. Let's see. Oh, one of the things that I enjoy doing for our members as well is when they've achieved a level, or if I just want to prod somebody to get interested, because it is so easy to participate. I made some bookmarks. I got lucky, and at one of my local thrift stores, I got a whole package of perforated bookmark paper that goes through my printer. I don't even know if they still make it, but you can create bookmarks on your own just by using templates in Word and downloading the symbols, the GF and CF symbols. Again, make them any way you want. It's all good. I also make these little cross-stitch banners just because I like to keep all my pins in one place. And you see I have my own star. When I reach star, I got my own. Got some just fun things on there, but also it gives me an opportunity to have a place to actually put things that they don't get lost. I don't know about you, but I have a problem with things getting lost. Anyway, that's the basics of ESO, and I'm going to open it up to questions now because I'm sure there are some. I know I had many, and I'm working real hard to try and make it easier, not only for myself, but for everybody else as well. So let me know what your questions are.
Thank you, Shirley. Our first question comes from Betty.
Hi, I just want to know, I'm a romance reader basically, but can I take the information in a romance book that I've read that really has nothing to do with anything and find a category for it? And if I do I have to justify why I put it in that category?
No, you do not have to justify it. Just what did you learn from it? In the romance category, let me think. What could we learn? Well, I don't think I'll go there, but I'm sure that I'm sure you can learn something from it. Maybe you learn something about the setting, the beauty of the wilds of Oregon or whatever it happened to be. I'm sure you can figure out something. The whole idea, and I know a lot of people, again, that the genre thing, 85 romance novels or 85 Wild West novels, there's going to be something in there that you can find to talk about. And if not, maybe you want to branch out a little bit. The whole idea is to try and expand your knowledge. So yes, you can find it. Good question, Betty.
Thank you, Betty.
So-
The next question comes from Yolanda.
Yolanda.
First of all, I want to say I'm very happy to see the 2 new categories.
Good, I'm glad.
And my question is, you mentioned that we could repeat categories, but not books.
That's correct.
I am working on STAR.
Okay.
Can I read 4 books in one of my previous categories to count for the 10 books?
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes. You can repeat categories. You just can't say, say you read Still Alice. You can't count it at each level. You've already counted it once, move on to a different book.
Perfect.
But categories, absolutely.
Perfect. That's great. Thank you.
Good.
Glad I came.
Yolanda. Next question comes from Reggie.
Hey, Reggie, I know you've read a lot. How many centuries are you on?
You're going to have to unmute, Reggie. Where are you? There you are. Hi, hon.
Oh, I
There you
thought
go.
sorry about that.
There you are.
Yes, I'm on my 3rd century. I've got about 10 books left on that, so you'll be getting that before long.
Excellent.
I had a question. I had always been told we could not count the hours that we've spent reading the book. And I believe I heard today that you said count the hours you read the book.
Yes. Yes, you can.
So that is something that I did not know.
That
So-
is, yes. And I have clarified that. I've been on several meetings with Tina Daniels, who's the GF education chair, and she said, yes, absolutely count the hours.
Oh, shoot, I'm sorry, I'm a fast reader. Oh, well. The other question
Okay.
I had was, for some reason, I missed the second new category. The first new category was California history, which is really a really old category, but I'm glad it's back in. What was the second new category?
Historical fiction.
Oh, I always put
Historical
that in.
fiction.
I always put that in something else. Okay.
You can.
Yeah. And what about family and, did I hear you mention family and
Parenting.
parenting?
Yes. You read a book on how to control hyperactivity in children or
is that
behavior
new?
modification.
Is that a new category or is that
No.
it's an old one?
It's an old one.
Okay.
Yeah,
So historical fiction is
it's the new one.
oh, I love it. I read a lot of that. Okay,
Thank you, Reggie. We're going to move on. Okay, love?
I'm done.
Okay, bye. Anita's iPad is the next one, please.
Excellent.
Okay, thank you very much. I want you to know that I joined the Women's Club as junior in 1967, and it wasn't until 4 years ago at a convention when it said ESO breakfast that I discovered what it was, and I couldn't wait to go. And I also received a book signed by the author. Anyway,
Fabulous.
I was so excited, and I still am. And I tried to get members, and I became the district, what do you call them, chair. So I try to get members, and this year I was able to get at least 3.
Excellent.
I already, I think, told you or emailed you, there were no membership pins at the marketplace when I ordered the certificates. Or
There-
they
That's
will be-
correct. They come and go. Last time I was on the site 3 days ago, they were there, but I believe they're in limited supply.
Apparently, I'll just keep trying.
You can, or if you, at the risk of taking business away from GF, try making a little personalized banner or something instead.
Okay. I
Do a
like the
crafting
bookmark.
project.
I like the
Thank you,
bookmark.
Anita. We
idea.
appreciate your question. Sorry if I talked over you.
Okay.
Our next question comes from Linda Kunz. Hi, Linda.
And- Hello, thank you.
Hello.
My question is that we did have a district ESO chair several years ago. And in case it comes up in the near future, as far as ESO and the interest and all, what happened was, and I want to find out as far as the protocol goes, is that our district ESO chair had gone over the state ESO chair to GF when she had ordered certain pins, which was at that time a big no-no. And I would assume that that is the same. If we do end up, I just wanted to find out if we do end up with a district ESO chair in the near future, she would go ahead through you as a state chair in regards to ordering any pins that any clubs, if they have an ESO section, she would go through you, correct?
No, actually, the pins can be ordered directly. They don't have to go through me at all. In fact, any member can order them directly. Be aware that the shipping charge can really up that order really quickly.
Right.
Anybody can order it.
Okay. Now, how about as far as the certificates go? Because I believe that that was a problem at that time also.
Certificates should be given out by me as state chair.
Okay.
Typically, they are given out at convention
Mhm.
to the president of the club.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
Linda. Our next question comes from Ann Cochran.
Hi, and I'm interested in the tracking sheet.
Okay. All you need to do is send me an email and I will be happy to send it to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, muting Ann. Next question comes from Charlotte Smith. Hi, Charlotte.
Hi. What is the best way to get the instruction information? And if we want to get a copy or see this video that's being recorded in this session, how do we do that?
Pam? You're muted.
Oh, I muted myself. We're going to put, okay. You
Okay.
are muted.
Now you're,
Unmute.
yeah, there you go.
There we go. Hey, I got through the PowerPoint. So muting is like an old talent. Something learned, something new. We are going to put the video on the Facebook page, which is GFWC, California Federation of Women's Clubs. Anybody can join and take a look at that. And that's going to be available until the 22nd, which is when the next Leadership Tidbits workshop will be put up. Now, as far as the forms, and there was no paperwork for this meeting that we sent out ahead of time, so don't think you missed something, but you can ask Shirley now about any of the paperwork, Charlotte.
I can send it to you directly, including the PowerPoint. I'd be happy to email it to you. All the forms are on the CFWC website under ESO.
All right, our next question comes from Shelley Cooper. Shelley, where are you, hon? I don't see you. There
Okay.
you are.
There, I was wondering, I listen to a lot of books when I'm traveling in my car, and that's not reading with my eyes, but can we count those books or not?
I'm so glad you asked because yes, absolutely. Audiobooks count and Kindle books count as well.
Thank you.
Great question. Thank you, Shelley. All right, our next question comes from, and I don't want to slaughter this name, and I'm sorry. Is it Leisha?
You got it.
Oh, fantastic. Welcome.
Thank you. I just have another quick question going back to the categories. I'm kind of on a self-help kick, kind of reading books, how to get off your butt and get stuff done, how do you develop new habits. Where would that be, like a health and medicine, or where would those go?
Depends on the content, but yes, could be families, could be inspiration, could be health and medicine. It could be a lot of places. We don't have a specific category for self-help and motivation, but let me write that down because maybe that's a future category.
Definitely a lot of books there.
Yes, and don't we all need them? Yes.
Thank you, Leisha.
Thank you.
Our next question comes from Kathy Hollis. Kathy.
I took my hand down because my question was answered.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
Our next question comes from, is it Donna?
Hey, Donna.
Donna, we can't hear you. You sharped out. Can you try again, please? You're kind of coming and going. I'm so sorry. Let's try it one more time.
Is that better?
Oh, much better.
Okay, it was my headset.
Okay.
Do you have the records from when we started with this? Our club doesn't have a chairperson anymore, and so we stopped sending information in. But I'm wondering if you have the information from like 3 years back.
Thank you for that question. I don't have any previous information, and that's part of why I'm reinventing the wheel. If you could just send me a list, you could just email me a list of who in your club is participating, their name and address, and what level they are currently at, we can go from there.
Excellent.
That would be wonderful.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, our next question comes from Catherine George 2.
Hi, I just have a couple questions because I'm getting started on this. In the GFWC Advancements and Programs Forum on Facebook, they are doing a leadership reading group, and they've introduced the first book as Atomic Habits by James Clear. I'm just wondering if there's a tie-in with that leadership reading group and ESO. And then the second question is, there is a GFWC ESO book club on Facebook, and is that the group that CF is part of, or is there a separate group?
Thank you for that. There is a GFWC Facebook book group. They work a little bit differently in that the chairman, Tina Daniel, chooses one book per month that everybody reads the same book and comments. Okay. You don't have to do it that way. You can just read on your own and then share. That's fine. You can do both. I encourage you to sign up to be part of that group because you're going to learn about some really great books that you might want to avail yourselves of. The other piece of your question, I do not know the answer to, the leadership thing, and there's not a specific category for leadership. Again, you might put it in several places, inspiration, perhaps, self-motivation. But no, as far as I know, we are not part of that. And CF does not currently have its own Facebook ESO group, although that is on my list of things to do.
I'm excited about that. Thank you, Shirley.
I am too.
I just sent those invites out this week.
Oh no, it's on record.
Shirley, I love it. Okay, so we're going to go next to Betty. Betty, you have a question?
Yes, just a couple quick ones. Home garden, if I look through a book that's just all pictures of different plants that I can plant and where they go and stuff like that, is that countable, or do I actually have to read a book that's got all words in it?
It doesn't have to have all words, but it should have some words from which you can learn things. One of the, it's true. One of the categories that this particularly comes up in is the category of art. Okay, you read a book about with famous photographs, Ansel Adams, for instance. Could that count? Sure, absolutely. Cookbooks, there's no category for cookbooks, and most people don't read them cover to cover. So that isn't really a category. But art, if you look at every page, I would count it, sure.
Also, can I record books that I read like as a teenager and in college? Can we put those down, or do they have to be current?
They do not have to be current as long as you can remember what you learned from it and you haven't reported it previously.
All right, thank you for that question. We're going to go next to Teresa. Teresa, you had a question? You need to unmute, please. Thank you.
Sorry about that.
Okay, no.
When we were going through the pages of, I did not get the post office box address. I'd like to have that.
Yes.
And is it my understanding that we can, the forms that we fill out, we can email them to you, Shirley, or should they be mailed to you at the PO box?
Email is fine. Whatever is easier for you.
Okay. And how do you have your PO box available that you can?
3192 Ventura, California 93006.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, our next question comes from Corinne.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask, how are the hours reportable? Where does that get reported?
There should be an ESO section.
Okay, thank you.
There is a separate, ESO used to be part of Education and Libraries. It is now its own separate reporting section. And what they want to know is the number of hours spent and how many books have been read. Okay, that's really the main thing. And excuse me. One of the things that came up on a meeting recently is how do you estimate how much time you've spent? One way is to take an average of about 2 minutes per page times the number of pages.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or you can just write down what you've actually done. Personally, I go to the dollar store and I get a monthly calendar. And all I do in this particular one is write down hours spent on women's club stuff. So it's not in my regular calendar, doesn't get mixed up. And then I because I read all the time, I just put my hours or tick marks or whatever in there. And that way I can go back at the end of the month and say, oh, this month I read 64 hours, or this month I read 20 hours, or whatever it happened to be.
Yeah.
Helpful?
And Corinne, just to back on that, being your past dean, I can tell you that the form specifically is the statistical form.
Mm-hmm.
Where that is asked for, and that is put in by every single club. Then the district gets all of those hours, puts in a statistical report for the district, and then that goes to all of those actually go to Barbara Briley Beard. So your club, as a statistical form, whoever is filling that out at your club level can put in your ESO hours.
Thank you, Pam. It's always good to know that stuff. And thank you for that really simple but very easy idea of how to record your hours. So our next question comes from Anita's iPad.
I'm sorry. I want to know if we do creative writing and write poetry and all that. Does that count?
That counts not under ESO, but under a different category in your hour sheets. My club, we have a creative arts section, and that's where we put things like that.
Our next question comes from Doris. You're going to have to unmute, love. Can
to
you, there
Kat.
you go.
Hi, Doris.
I've lost my pictures.
We
but
can
I'll-
see you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, my question is, I've been doing this for many years, and do we still do century reading?
Yes.
Do we
Absolutely.
do it the way we used to do it, or is there some new way we have to do it?
I don't know how you did it before, but how I do it is at the century level, you no longer have to write a report. Just
It's on
do
right now.
an Excel spreadsheet or a list, handwritten list.
We just send you the list? Well, we had to send the book reports in before.
Nope. No reports for centuries. Once you pass
Okay,
torch,
just the list.
you're free from reports. Just tell me how many books you've read.
Oh, well, thank you. Just the title and the author?
Yes, and it would be helpful to know, how many hours, but that's not important.
Okay.
Title and author.
That's fine. Thank you, because you've never mentioned century, to my knowledge.
Thank you.
Probably not many people have done it. Thank you very much.
Of course,
That was my
thank you. We have the next question is from Kathy Holm.
Okay. Hello.
Hi, Kathy.
First of all, I want to thank Shirley for the excellent workshop and the excellent slide presentation. This is the first time I've really gotten a thorough, information about the ESO, and I've been in clubs for a long time. Anyway, I have a question. My son wrote a book, but he self-published it. Does that get counted?
Sure.
Okay. And
Absolutely.
the other question was time limit, but I think that was answered. I thought it just was from year to year, but it can be, you could, like somebody said, the books I read last year, as long as I fill out the form, can be counted.
That's correct.
Awesome.
That's correct. And you can take 6 years to achieve one level if you want to, or you can achieve 3 levels in 1 year. Your choice.
Thank you so much. This was great. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Have a good day. All right, our next question is from Ellen. Ellen, welcome.
Hey, Shirley. I'm so glad you got into ESO, since I'm the one who taught you everything you know. Until recently, you're surpassing me. So my question is that at century level, still shouldn't we regard it as a category too, since that's the main kind of crux of what kind of category it fits in?
My understanding is that at century level, you can read anything you want.
I understand that, but don't you want the books categorized at least?
That's a personal preference.
Okay.
And if you want
second of all, cookbooks have always fallen under home and garden. They've always been listed there.
Yes.
Several of them are listed in the list. I read cookbooks from cover to cover, and there are a lot of them that have a lot of words. So,
okay. Fine. I read a lot of books about cooking, but not
that too. I read, like salt and how arugula took over the world and things like that.
Right. Absolutely. Good
there
point.
are a lot of good ones.
Thanks, Ellen. It's good to see you.
Bye.
Okay, our next question comes from Maria.
Good morning. I just want to know, I hear that a lot of things are being accepted as part of the new or categories. In the past, however, we were told that we were not allowed to read a magazine and count it. And I have a lot of my club members who would like to read, or they say they read National Geographic cover to cover. And that has a lot of information. So I wanted to know if that was going to be counted or not.
Magazines are tricky. National Geographic, where would you put it? Would you put it under
travel?
Travel and geography, yeah, you could, or history sometimes. If it's cover to cover, yes. And I would take that on an honor system. Don't tell me you read People though.
Okay.
Okay, that kind of magazine doesn't count. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
And real
Oh, you have
quick,
another question, Maria?
yeah, just really quickly, are any of the forms computer friendly? And if they are not, would you mind if we just create our own based on your form? If we do it on the computer?
Fine. No, that's perfectly fine.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Maria. Have a nice day. Our next question comes from Linda Kuntz.
Thank you. I just thought of this. What I wanted to find out is when it was mentioned about that the ESO is a separate category on the statistical, as Pam said, and
Yes.
taken out of education. So I just want to make sure I understand this correctly, that say, for example, a club started an ESO section. I was thinking with whatever's involved, hours and what have you, that it would be reported on the club entry form, and then where it says program, I was thinking education, but then with what Pam was just saying, you put the ESO there, or because I would think that we
Yes.
could do a report form on there.
It now counts as its separate category, ESO.
Yes. Yes, you send in a separate report to state for ESO. A lot of you don't know that. It's education and libraries, and it's ESO. So Shirley gets twice the amount of reports. Surprise. And but she knew that. But that's the way it goes. And we've been trying to educate. That's a great question, Linda, because we've been trying to educate our deans on that for the last 4 years. It's a whole separate category since GFWC pulled it apart. So thank you for asking that.
Okay, so what you're saying, Pam, is that we would still do the club entry form, the reporting form, and for the title, we would put education, and then we would report it under ESO and also in education, correct?
Nope.
No.
It's by itself entirely.
So where
It's the club reporting form, the program is Epsilon, Sigma, Omicron.
Okay, got it. All right, thank you.
Yeah, we're going to take the last 4 people, Sonia.
Okay, fantastic.
This has been great.
The next question comes from, and I apologize, is it Vina? And you are welcome to correct me.
Yes, that's right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I thank you for all this wonderful information today. It's clarified a lot of different things.
Good.
I just want clarification. As a district chairman, is the only form that I send you as state chair the cover sheet?
Yes.
So not the sheet that has all the book reports?
No, that stops with you. I don't have to read reports.
Okay. All right.
And if you send them, I will read them, but you don't have to.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
bet.
Vina.
And of course, Vina, too, as a district chair, you have a report to write that's due to state about ESO. Surprise. I know a lot of people are hearing that for the first time today.
I'm glad that you mentioned it. Maybe we should do it again. Our next question is from Corinne. Corinne?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you. I wanted to ask about how we would go about requesting you as a guest speaker.
Email me.
Okay.
Just send me an email.
Thank you.
You bet.
All right, fantastic. Thank you for that. Excellent question. Okay, Sherry, you have a question? Sherry Meyer?
There, am I on now? I okay?
Yes, you are. Hello.
Okay. This muting and unmuting. Anyway, just to quickly reiterate, I'm a Century reader, and today this was a new thought or a new idea. I no longer have to write any comments, reports, whatever. In essence, all I need is a cover sheet listing title and author of what I'm reading. Is this correct?
You don't even have to do a cover sheet. You can just do an Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm thinking like their current form of the cover sheet.
That's right.
Whoa.
And tell me which century you're on.
I'm on 12.
Okay, because I have no previous records, you need to give me all the information that you can give me as to your current status.
So you need all of the past records if at all possible.
Well, that'd be nice.
Thank you, Sherry. Have a nice day. Our last question, our very last question is Betty. Betty, do you have a question?
Yeah, I was also your first, sorry.
Oh.
I just wondered you were talking about cookbooks. I read a murder mystery series that's from a chef kind of thing. And if I've got all my mysteries filled in, can I now move that, since I do make the recipes she puts in her novel? Can I put it under cookbooks?
Well, there's no cookbook category, but you could find somewhere to put that. Absolutely.
Because you said Home and Gardens was
Home and Garden.
cookbook.
Home and Garden, yeah. Or maybe families even.
Yeah.
Shirley, before we end, is there anything that these questions have brought up that you wanted to go over real quick?
I just had one more comment, and that is if anyone has achieved a level that they have not yet been recognized for, I would like to know that information, because I do not have historical information. And so if you're waiting for recognition, I need to know that.
Yeah.
That's all.
Great that's question. Great. That is fabulous. Yay, Shirley. Thank you.
My pleasure.
This was I want to thank Shirley for being there and taking my call, because I'd only met her once when I heard about what she was doing in the TAD district with their ESO and education program. And thank goodness I know Joyce Opjordan, and she said, there's this gal here if you're looking for somebody. And thank you, Shirley. You are fabulous. As she said, there are no records. I know that somebody on Facebook recently put that they'd like a workshop in record keeping. And I think that we can see that is needed maybe in the future too, because you can understand with Shirley that it would be so much easier if she had a thumbnail drive that was filled with everything for the last couple of years at least. And that may have been updated, but it's hard when we get new people and we aren't passing on the information. So that's just my leadership thing for right now, that we need to be passing our information on to the next person. It's not private. We don't get to keep it forever and put it under our beds and let it collect dust bunnies. And a lot of you have heard my dust bunny speech, so I'm not going to go further about that. Anyway, next week we have Tidbits for Leaders, and that's on the 22nd. I believe it's at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. We're still taking registration for that. We are going to have some of the state leadership chairmen from other states. They've sent me emails asking if they can attend. We, of course, have 2 GFWC officers that have asked to attend that one. And I think that's great. GFWC is starting to get used to the fact that we are doing workshops in California consistently every single month. I'm trying to get things out for you. March workshops, just to announce them again, I'm going to have to read them off my journal, which is one of the workshops, journaling. March workshops are going to be on communication, journaling, the finance team tips, that's the CFWC finance team tips. We're going to have one on cyber clubs. We're going to have an executive committee recipe swap, which will be fun now that I know how to do PowerPoint with Zoom. We're going to have a class on using your smartphone to take emails and, videos on your smartphones, which is really going to help the district presidents because they don't know what's coming, but they'll find out next weekend from me what we're planning for the convention. We're going to have a state brag hour where we're just going to get together and ask people to take turns spending about 20, 30 seconds talking about what their club is doing and what their district is doing for Federation. We're going to have a craft hour where you're going to bring your trash to treasure items, and we're going to have a contest. In 1 hour, you get to put to trash to treasure together. We're going to take pictures of it. We're going to post those pictures during the convention. And so we just want you to be ready for that. And that information will come out as soon as I can garner 2 people to handle my reservation process. And I've called them and they're considering it, which is great. Not necessarily their chairmanship, but I've asked for some help because it's hard to stay on top of all of the reservations for the open houses and these workshops. I want to get back to you as soon as I can, but someone mentioned Excel spreadsheet. I have everything in an Excel spreadsheet, so I know when I send it to you and what you get, kind of thing. Once again, thank you very much, Sonia Holtz, for helping. Thank you everyone for attending. And thank you, Shirley Lorraine, for being our ESO chairman. I'm going to end the meeting. The recording will go up as soon as I have it ready on, again, Facebook, GFWC, California Federation of Women's Clubs. Bye, ladies.
Bye.